So the Wheel of Time episode 8 dropped. Season 1 has come to an end. I did enjoy the show, but I also agree that it's not the best show that we have seen ever. I do have my set of criticism for this show, but today we'll only talk about this one episode, episode 8, The Eye of the World. I will make another video which will be a review of the whole series. I'll talk about the positives and the shortcomings of the whole season in that video, but today we'll only talk about episode 8. So let's start with the things that I enjoyed, and after that I'll get into the things that didn't work for me. So we opened with a sequence which happened 3000 years ago, and then we switch back to the times that the action is currently taking place in the story of Wheel of Time. And the setup that's shown in that flashback of 3000 years back is so futuristic that it reminded me of the utopian imagination of all the science fiction that we used to have some 50-60 years ago. A lot of science fiction around that time was set up in utopian worlds like the one that we just saw in the show for this one shot. There was this whole modern mindset, a whole upsurge of scientific discoveries, which was creating a lot of positivity everywhere. And the science fiction from that era was not as upsetting and disturbing as most of the science fiction that we see today, which is generally set in dystopian worlds where there is hardly any hope. So we see this very high-tech, modern kind of a setup where we have these flying vehicles and the kind of skyscrapers that we are getting these days and all of that. And then we switch back to the time where the story is taking place, which looks like the past for the times that we are living in. Now, I was very excited to see this because it actually spelled out the idea of Wheel of Time, the whole concept of Wheel of Time as it's talked about in the stories. A lot of cultures do talk about the cyclic idea of time, the cyclic cosmology of time and everything. I am familiar with the Hindu ideology, so I'll just briefly mention those. In Hindu mythology, we have these 4 yugs called the Satyug or the Kreta Yuga. Then we have the Treta Yuga, then we have Dwapar Yuga, and then we have Kali Yuga. Now, Satyug or Kreta Yuga is supposed to be like the best time where everything good happens and there's no evil at all. And Kali Yuga is the time where all evil comes to life and there are a lot of disturbances. And each of these yugs continue for around 4.32 million years. And according to this theory, currently we are living in Kali Yuga, which started in 3102 BC. And according to this theory, everything evil is happening in our times and it will continue happening till this cycle comes to an end and the new yuga starts. Quick insert, guys. I couldn't help notice, but the Eye of the World, the way they showed it, it actually looks like a stepped well, and there are a lot of stepped well in India, in Gujarat and Rajasthan, and that place just looks so exactly like the same. It looks like a design iteration of a stepped well, like so literally. Also, before we move on, as the show is coming to an end, I will now be switching back to my YouTube videos. So I have a few books lined up and I'll just share them with you. In case you would like me to pick up any of them first and discuss them, just let me know in the comments below. I'll be glad to pick that up first. So of course, I will be picking up The Great Hunt, the book 2 in the Wheel of Time series after I finish book 1, which I'm almost done with. So if you want me to pick this up next, I can do that. I have also been wanting to read The Vampire Chronicles, and I have this omnibus edition which have all the 3 Anne Rice novels, Interview with the Vampire Lestat, and The Queen of the Damned. So I think I will start with Interview with the Vampire first. So if you want me to pick up this. I also have the new Stephen King on my list, Billy Summers. So this is again one book which I'm really looking forward to, and that can also be picked up next. So getting back with this show, the story picks up where we left it in the last episode and things start pacing up, and it's also by the mid of the episode, 26 minutes 10 seconds to be precise. The whole narrative splits up into 3 different scenarios in space and mind, because something happens and there's one thing that's going on one character's mind and the other 2 are happening in the real world scenario, and that is when the episode actually starts picking up the pace, which marks the beginning of the end of the season. My favorite quote from this episode was what Loyal tells Perrin when he's like all upset about whatever is happening. Loyal tells him, if you want to help but don't know how, just ask. I just thought that was a very good thing to remember. There's something very strange that I felt while watching this episode, and I just thought I'll share it with you guys. So the Fire Eyes guy, if we want to call him that, he's projected as someone who is pure evil. Even the books, for that matter, as far as I've read them, they talk about the whole dual idea of good and evil, and there are no gray shades anywhere. So there is someone who is absolutely pure evil, and so far they were just showing that one being as faceless. So we were kind of like, okay, pure evil has no face, it's okay. But in this episode, they put a face to that character, and that character appears as one person as a whole. I somehow was a little bit uncomfortable watching pure evil personified visually as an actual person in that episode, because when you're reading, there's a limit to the description that can be written, and I've not seen many writers go very objectively explaining. Most of the times they are kept ambiguous. Thinking about Harry Potter, Voldemort, even till the end, was kind of a faceless man without any nose and stuff. So pure evil, not completely human, no connections with any race or whatsoever. But when I saw that character, it clearly comes across a very strong featured racial presentation. So I was not very comfortable looking at that, because such kind of portrayals, I don't know about everyone else, but kind of make me a little uncomfortable. This is not a comparison of what is there in the books. This is not a comment on what the story talks about and all. This is just very personal observation. I am very sensitive towards labels and categorization and generalization about things. So that's something which I just felt, and I thought I would just share it with you guys. Alright, so coming on with the criticism, there's quite a lot. First of all, I think this episode is going to get a lot of fire. It's going to make a lot of people unhappy. There are some story changes that they did, which even I was like, why would they ever do that? What's wrong with them? Why are they getting rid of these characters like that, if at all they're getting rid? But it seemed like they were. There were parts of the background score which sounded completely alien to whatever we had heard before, and for me, it was not really working. There was this one sequence towards the end of the episode when the Trollocs were marching, and there was that whole background score which I was like, where did they get this from? It's not working. And there was something very strange towards the end. They dig out this horn which had been hidden for probably centuries for one very important event, and a set of people just go there and they dig it out, and they're supposed to protect it completely and take good care of it, and something happens and there's some disturbance, and all of them just abandon that one box and they just go away. And I didn't understand that if that was something so important, how can they just leave it there without no one guarding it and just fly off like that? That I thought was something which could have been presented a lot better. And towards the end, the Trollocs were marching and the women were channeling and keeping them away. There was a time when I think all the Trollocs were gone, but the channeling still went on and they didn't stop, which was kind of resulting into something which no one would have wanted. And I just was looking at that and I was like, why would she not stop? Because she very well can now. So what is going on? Why are they just going on? Maybe there's something which I don't know about the story. Maybe there's a way in which that magic system works which would not let them stop once they start. But if that was the case, I believe it should have been made clear before things started to happen. Also, even the few characters between which I saw some chemistry happening in the last episode, it started to fall flat this time. There's a very beautiful exchange of dialogues between Lan and Nynaeve in the book, and when I was reading that, I kind of marked it also because I loved reading it and I thought it portrayed the emotions really well, and I was very happy to read that. I'll just read out that line. So this is Lan saying, "I will hate the man you choose because he is not me, and love him if he makes you smile." So when I was reading this, the whole chemistry, the whole thing, the whole romance kind of came alive on the pages. But when Lan spoke these lines in the show, it just fell flat. And I was like, how can you just butcher these beautiful lines and not have any impact while saying them? Alright guys, that's basically it. I have tried to keep this video spoiler free, but I will get into the spoilers later. I will make another video detailed for the whole season and I'll talk about all the things that I liked and I didn't like. But overall, it was fun, but it's not the best show and it could have been a lot better. 8 episodes didn't work. The first thing I want to say is they should have made more number of episodes, and I hope they work on all the weak points and make the next season stronger than the season 1 is. And until next time, keep reading, keep watching, stay healthy, stay safe. Cheers.